You're not gonna believe some of the craziest things done in ancient Greece. What's happening, guys? Leroy Kenton here. You're watching FTD Facts. We got 10 crazy stuff to look at. At number 10, we have zombies. So archaeologists in Sicily have discovered evidence that the zombie phenomenon is actually not a recent development. Research conducted over the past decade shows that the phenomenon actually dates back to over 2,000 years. The archaeologist Carrie Sulowski-Weaver analyzed two burials from a Greek settlement in Sicily that she believed were the remains of the revenants. Now, the ancient Greeks believed that certain dead bodies could reanimate, and to prevent them from leaving their burial sites, they needed to be ritually killed or confined by pinning them down with large stones or fragments of amphora. Number 9 has to do with payment for the afterlife. In Greek mythology, it was believed that individuals who passed away, they had to pay Charon, which is the ferryman of River Styx, to enter the underworld. Now, to ensure safe passage, people were actually buried with obol, which is a Greek coin worth 1/6 of a drachma, and that was placed in their mouth or near their body as payment for Charon's services. Those who were unable to pay that fare, they were believed to wander aimlessly along the shores of River Styx for a century before being allowed to cross. Ancient Greeks also had some very severe punishments, particularly involving adultery. Adultery was viewed as a very severe offense, as the Greeks believed that adultery had a direct impact on the family, which of course was highly valued in their ancient society. Now, if you were caught in the act, the guardian of that woman had the legal right to end the life of her. Alternatively though, if the case went to court, the accused would face punishment such as having a large radish inserted into their behind, like up there, and having their pubic hair removed with hot ash. Ouch! For number 7, the ancient Greeks also were very fascinated with improving their physical fitness and appearance, and during exercise, men would strip down and apply oil to their bodies and exercise without clothes on. And here's an interesting fact about this. The term gymnasium actually derives from the Greek word gymnasion, which translates to school for unclothed exercise. Interesting. Gymnasiums, they were highly valued and considered essential in every major city, with observing the bodies of the men working out being part of gym culture. That's just what men did, observe other men at the gym without clothes. And upon finishing their workout, men used a semicircular tool called a strigil to scrape off the oil and dead skin. And those scrapings could then be sold as elixirs to the public. Coming down to the number 6 spot, let's talk about male statues. Although ancient Greeks placed great value on muscular and masculine physiques for men, they had an opposite preference when it came to male private parts, and we see that in their statues. So Greek statues found in museums today depict men that are poorly endowed, since erect private parts were seen as a sign of stupidity. Okay. But smaller private parts, or at least private parts that were flaccid, meaning that they weren't hard, they were actually ones that were idolized, and they symbolized having great intelligence if they were small. Yeah. Coming in at number 5, let's talk about strange festivals back in ancient Greece. They celebrated festivals as a way to connect with the supernatural world through various activities and rituals. These festivals were characterized by unique and often bizarre traditions, including things like athletic events, sacrifices, as well as musical performances, and also large feasts. One of these festivals in particular was known as Skirophorion, which was the final month of the Athenian calendar. And during this time, Athenians would offer animal sacrifices to Zeus Polius on Acropolis. And although they typically avoided sacrificing oxen, this occasion was actually considered special enough to permit using them as sacrificial animals. Following the sacrificer would stand trial, but would often shift the blame to the ox. As a result, the ox would be convicted and then drowned and then resurrected by stuffing it with straw. Well, resurrected. I use a term loosely, kind of like make it look like it's alive again. Number 4 leads us to weird contraception. In ancient Greece, women sought to prevent pregnancy by using olive and cedar oils that decreased the motility of their partner's seminal fluid, giving them more time to cleanse themselves after intercourse. To reduce the risk of conception, other contraceptive measures that were suggested by Greek gynecologists included sneezing. And as a matter of fact, one such gynecologist advised women to hold their breath and move away slightly to prevent the seminal fluid from being deposited too deeply inside of them. So when they backed away from their partner, what they would do afterwards would be to squat and induce sneezing, and this would expel any remaining fluid, and then they would thoroughly cleanse their lady parts. Coming in at number 3, this is an interesting one, tasting body fluids. In ancient Greece, medical practitioners believed that the human body was actually made up of different bodily fluids, each with a distinct taste and appearance. And to make an accurate diagnosis, doctors, they not only examined the patient's vomit and urine, but they would also taste the vomit and the urine. And in some cases, doctors would actually ask for urine samples, as healthy urine was believed to taste like fig juice. And any deviation from this taste was an indication of illness. Number 2 has to deal with ending infant life. Although taking the lives of infants was viewed as a heinous act and frowned upon in ancient Greece, well, exposure was a very common practice used to get rid of unwanted infants, particularly those with physical abnormalities, or in many cases, even female children. The act was not considered a crime though, since it was believed that the gods would intervene if they wanted to save the child. As you could imagine, typically the decision of whether to abandon the baby would fall on the patriarch of the family, and the ancient Greeks saw female infants as a financial burden because providing them with a dowry when they married would cost the family a lot. Also, since few job opportunities existed at that time for women, they were unlikely to contribute to the household income. Now, ending this episode off at number 1 is probably something that we would call predatory relationships, among other terms. Although we now consider preying on children to be a very reprehensible and unlawful act, the ancient Greeks not only engage in these type of relations with young boys, but they also celebrated them. Relationships between an adult man and a boy just approaching the age of puberty, or those over the age of puberty, were prevalent among the ancient Greeks. And the practice was actually viewed as a rite of passage for the young boys. Typically, the older man was the one that would initiate this relationship with a boy. And these relationships were not just about the physical acts, but they were also considered a form of mentorship and civic duty. On that note, we complete this episode looking at 10 crazy things done in ancient Greece. Yeah, did this surprise you? Let me know your thoughts and comments about anything shared in this episode down below. If you did make it this far and you enjoyed this one, leave a big thumbs up. Until next time, guys, stay awesome, stay educated, and I'll see you soon.